My Maybe we have the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Baxter.
Here.
Commissioner Flores. Here. Mayor Marino.
Here.
Commissioner Powell.
Here.
Commissioner Sachs. Here. Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Commissioner Woodward. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would please stand, I've asked the Vice Mayor to lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
Dear God, we are meeting here today to conduct matters of business for our community. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness. Impart your wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, notice, proof of publication and swearing in. How about we start in order? Do we have notice?
We do have notice.
Proof of publication?
We also have proof of publication. You want a motion?
Excuse me?
Motion on that one?
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Flores, a second from Commissioner Weiss. All in favor, all opposed. See, that motion carries 6-0. May I have the attorney do the swearing in, please?
All those wishing to testify on today's quasi-judicial items, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to have a lot of moving around, moving pieces today, so additions, deletions, substitutions.
Yes, we have a few amendments to our agenda. Item number 3, DOA 2024-01618, Tropical Lakes PUD. There's an amendment to the Development Order Amendment in Exhibit C, Site Design Condition 6, for duplicative language. On the regular agenda, item number 5, ZCA 2024-01593, Nash Trail, a modification to the Class A conditional use Exhibit C1, specifically for landscape general condition. And on the addendum, we also have engineering condition number 7 and 8 being added, and some additional correspondence that we received after the original amendment for the agenda. Moving on, under C6, DOA 2025-00292, Lions Glade Center, a development order amendment modifying landscape general condition number 1, landscape perimeter condition number 1, signs condition number 3, and site design condition number 1. On the previously postponed comprehensive plan heading under D, item number 7, SCA 2024-8, Boca Raton Commerce Center, the addition of a condition number 5 for the small scale amendment. Item 8, DOA CA 2024-499, Boca Raton Commerce Center 3, the amendment to add a condition, planning condition number 9, an amendment to site design condition number 3, the addition of site design condition number 4. Under E, ULDC related items for item 12, reasonable accommodation, a correction to the staff recommendation for first reading and adoption, and the correction for the motion as there's just one item A. F, other departments, item 14 is a new item added to the agenda relative to the short list of candidates for the county attorney. And then there will need to be an adjournment as the Board of County Commissioners reconvening as the Child Care Facilities Board for the addition of item number 15 for the provisional child care facility license for Faith Place Center for Arts Education, Inc., Faith Place.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Weiss, your light is on.
Thank you, Mayor. With these modifications that we've heard from staff, I'd also like to ask that we move item 15 to the first item this morning. I see we have some students here. I'd like to get that item done so they can get back to school, as I'm sure they're more happy to be there than here. So with that, I will make that motion to accept the amended agenda with the proviso of moving item 15 to our first item.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Yeah, aye. All opposed? See that that motion carries 6-0. Vice Mayor Baxter.
Madam Mayor, are we discussing anything with I believe we're discussing the county attorneys
That's
today?
going to be at the end.
Would you mind, I have, as you are aware, I also serve on the Children's Services Council. So I don't know how long our full agenda is going to take. Do you mind if we move that?
What time is your meeting?
I believe I have to leave here by 3 or so.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
Okay, just put in that.
We will. We will definitely have plenty of time. And if we're getting close, we'll move it up on the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So right now, we made a motion and a second to approve, and we approved the amended agenda. So now we will take up the consent agenda.
No.
Oh,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
You're going to start with number 15, so.
We're going to start with number 15, correct?
Convene as the,
We're going to, okay, we need to
Adjourn as the board.
adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners, and we need to reconvene as the Child Care Facilities Board,
okay.
which we have now done. And presentation, what are we having, Tammy?
So while the zoning staff doesn't have to move, I'll just do it from here. What we have is a request for a provisional license for Faith Place. That is, the organization is going to be operating a child care facility and school at the Senator McBernard Park in Grand Marcy Park. And there were some construction delays and some other factors that made it where they were not able to make it to the last agenda. And those issues have now been resolved. So they would be going forward, excuse me, they'd be going forward and still going through the regular process at the November meeting of the Child Care Advisory Board, which is what the Board of County Commissioners is set up to handle the licensing. But you as commissioners have the ability to grant this provisional license until they're able to go and have the final hearing with the health department. So we're just asking if you can grant a provisional license. Provisional licenses can be up to 6 months, but it will likely only be a couple of weeks because they are going to be going to their November meeting, and from everything we have heard, they've met all of the conditions.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make the motion to grant a provisional license at least until the end of November for, does it have to be 6 months? At least for are they requesting 6 months?
We would just suggest that we do it for the length that provisional licenses are allowed, or a final determination by the Department of Health, the Child Care Advisory Board, whichever comes first.
Okay. I would like to grant it for 6 months, or have the final determination is made by the Department of Health.
I have a
as
motion, and I have a
requested.
second from Commissioner Weiss, who's shaking his head quite strongly, but I do have Vice Mayor Baxter's light on. Oh, that was left over, okay. So I have a motion and a second. Did you get those? Motion maker and second, okay. All in favor, all opposed, see that motion carries 6-0. Thank you all. Go on and learn. All right, now we are going to adjourn as the Child Care Facilities Board. We are now going to reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners with our zoning meeting going forward. And let me go backwards to the beginning of our agenda, because now I would look for a motion to approve. Let me ask, does anybody want to pull anything from consent? Seeing no lights on, may I have a motion? I'm sorry? Oh, thank you very much. Disclosures on consent. Does anyone have disclosures for any of the items on consent? Commissioner Flores? Commissioner Sacks?
Item number 3, is that on consent? Tropical
it
Lakes
is.
PUD?
Yes.
Item number 4. So item number 3, it is in-person meeting with Andrea Kaiser and Heather Jo Allen. Item number 4 on consent, in-person meeting with Andrea Kaiser and Heather Jo Allen. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Ernie?
I have emails for item number 1 on the natural areas that have been filed with the clerk, and that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you. I had on item number 2, I had verbal communication with Scott Backman.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell?
No disclosures for consent.
Thank you. I have none either. Did we get a motion in a second? Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Weiss, a second from Commissioner Sacks. All in favor, all opposed, sees that approval of the consent agenda, 6-0. Thank you very much. We will now take up our regular agenda items. And the first item on the regular agenda, Nash Trail.
Yeah, so the first item, ZCA 2024-01593 Nash Trail. We have 2 requests before the board, an official zoning map amendment to allow rezoning from the RE zoning classification to the residential single family, and a Class A conditional use to allow townhomes. So we can turn it over to the applicant and then staff.
Does anybody need a presentation for Nash Trail? But I know we need disclosure. We'll get disclosures. What's the matter?
I think because we have members in opposition to this, it would be appropriate to do a presentation.
Okay, thank you. All righty, here we go. Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Erin Lees, and I am presenting the Nash Trail rezoning and Class A conditional use applications. The applicant is requesting approval for an official zoning map and amendment to rezone the subject parcels from the RE Residential Estate Zoning District to the RS Single Family Residential Zoning District, and a Class A conditional use to allow for the development of 53 fee simple townhomes in the RS zoning district. The 7.57-acre project site is located west of South Haverhill Road, northwest of Nash Trail, and the 52nd Drive South intersection. Nash Trail is an infill development within a mile of Diamond View Elementary, Tradewinds Middle, and Buttonwood Park. Access is off of Haverhill Road and then west on Nash Trail, then north on 52nd Drive. Nash Trail is being improved to Palm Beach County standards as part of the Blossom Trail development, and 52nd Drive will be improved to our project entrance to Palm Beach County standards. The applicant is requesting 53 units, resulting in a density of 7 dwelling units per acre. The parcels are currently zoned residential estate, and we are requesting to rezone the parcels to the single-family residential zoning district, RS. The future land use on the parcels is medium-density residential, 5 units per acre. The proposed site plan is on the screen for you. I'll just go to the end. A 20-foot Type 3 incompatibility buffer will extend along the southwestern property line to the adjacent agricultural use, approximately 325 feet. The remaining 600 feet of the west buffer will have a 20-foot incompatibility buffer with a 6-foot Simtech fence. The site plan also includes tree preservation areas, a tot lot, guest parking spaces, and dry detention areas. We are preserving trees on our 0.84 acre tree preservation areas and throughout the buffer. A total of 254 trees will be preserved. We hosted 4 neighborhood meetings. The first took place on March 26th of this year, followed by 3 additional meetings. Lennar's attorney has also been in contact with the neighbor's attorney multiple times to discuss neighbor concerns. During the neighborhood meetings, we introduced the project and discussed potential concerns with owners of adjacent properties. Concerns included privacy, traffic, and safety. As a result of the community outreach, we are proposing several solutions, including an enhanced landscape buffer, along the north, south, and west property boundaries, a speed table on 52nd Drive South, which is subject to county review and approval, and the developer has offered to install a fence on the property of 5536 52nd Drive South, which was declined. We are also proposing a 6-foot wall along the southwest property boundary that transitions to a 6-foot Simtech fence along the west property line to the north property line. The developer has also agreed to a fence in the rear yards of the townhomes backing up to 52nd Drive. The proposed development meets or exceeds the buffer requirements on all 4 sides. Specifically, a fence is not required on most sides of the development, and we are proposing a 6-foot opaque fence on the north and south, a 6-foot fence in the rear townhome property lines on the east property line, and a 6-foot Simtech fence on the west property line where we are not abutting an agricultural use. We are proposing a 1-foot berm within 3 feet of the property line, allowing no backside swale to be required. A 3-foot berm, which the residents are requesting, no longer meets this requirement and requires the berm to be at least 10 feet from the property line. A swale will need to be incorporated to capture the runoff from the berm itself, and the berm will no longer be for stormwater collection, it's aesthetics only, and will require a lot of fill and vegetation that will destroy and or undermine the existing vegetation that we are trying to keep. There will be a 20-foot concrete, there'll be a 10-foot, there will be a 6-foot concrete wall along the south 325 feet of the west buffer. The Simtech fence allows us to preserve trees we have committed to preserving in the buffer and comply with the conditions of approval regarding the tree preservation areas. Benefits of the Simtech fence include galvanized steel reinforcement for enhanced durability and strength, high wind resistance, noise reduction, and internally molded steel stiffeners. The project is required to provide 4 workforce housing units on site per code. Lennar has voluntarily agreed to 6 workforce housing units, which will be provided as 9 off-site rental units. The builder has already been identified, who is partnering with Palm Beach County Housing Authority, which has resulted in a written letter of intent from Atlantic Development. The project will be built by Lennar Homes, a national home builder with a strong presence in Palm Beach County, known for building a quality product and being active in the community. Lennar Foundation contributes $1,000 per home to children in need for medical research. The development provides 183 parking spaces, exceeding the code requirement of 106 spaces. Each end unit contains a 2-car garage and 2 driveway spaces, and each interior unit contains a single-car garage and 2 driveway spaces, allowing room for guest parking. The proposed project complies with the standards for rezoning to a standard zoning district, and the proposed project complies with the standards for a Class A conditional use. Staff recommends approval of the request, and that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The conditional overlay zone, what exactly will the conditional overlay zone do?
The conditional overlay zone is relating to tree preservation on site, ensuring that we're preserving trees on the property.
The fence and wall that you had showed on one of the slides indicated those will not be impacted. It will not impact the tree preservation. With regard to this site, I guess the 20-foot buffer there is with the 6-foot concrete wall.
Yes, that's the green line.
And then there's a 6-foot Slim-Tech fence.
Yep.
Does that impact anything that you have on your tree preservation study, or does that help to not have to eliminate trees that you're required to preserve?
The 6-foot Simtech fence, the purpose of that is to help eliminate the any impact on the trees there. The 6-foot Simtech fence requires less heavy machinery, and 2 people can essentially move that fence into place, whereas the 6-foot concrete wall requires significantly more machinery, which would impact the native trees, which is the reason that we are proposing the Simtech fence.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Previously, it was stated the staff analysis or staff report indicates that no off-site location has been found for the applicant's exchange builder option. You just indicated that that has been, or you're in agreement with a housing authority. Can you explain that again in a little bit better for me?
Correct. Yes, so we have a letter of intent from the Palm Beach County, from Atlantic Development to build those properties off-site. And I believe we actually have an address as well, which I can get for you, for where those 9 units will be built.
And for confirmation, those are rental units, not fee simple, correct?
Correct. There are 9 rental units.
The four-
And yes, the address for the off-site homes is 2900 North Australian Avenue in West Palm Beach.
Okay. Okay. That's, we'll talk about that. Further, the 4 units that will be on site, are those fee simple or are those rental as well? The townhomes that you indicated there will be 4 on site, am I
So
correct?
we're required to build 4 on-site. We're using the Builder Exchange Program to build 9 rental units off-site.
So there will be no
Correct. No
units on
workforce
site.
housing on-site.
Now, the reason for the rezoning from RE to RS was, what was that behind that RE? Why couldn't it remain RE if it?
So in the RS zoning district, we can then apply for that conditional use to allow for the townhomes in the RS zoning district.
Because townhomes wouldn't be allowed in the RE zoning district, is that correct?
I would have to defer to staff to double check that.
Townhouses are not allowed in RE.
Thank you. You indicated that the berm was for aesthetics only at this point. When you had gone back, and this was originally supposed to be on one of our agendas, it's been pushed a few times and then remanded back to the zoning commission. The berm, was that something that came out of it as a result of conversations with the members of the community who had issues with the project?
So we are proposing a 1-foot berm within 3 feet of the property line, and that is for stormwater management. The residents would like a 3-foot berm. So if we transition from that 1-foot berm to a 3-foot berm, we would have to move the location. It also is no longer for stormwater management. Then we would have to provide a swale, and it would greatly impact the trees that we are preserving in the buffer, and we're preserving a significant amount of trees in the buffer. So, which is why we are proposing to keep it at that 1-foot berm.
Thank you, Aaron. Those are all my questions, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. I want to commend Lennar's commitment on the following 3 conditions of approval. One of them is, and I'm reading from what the developer said himself, the developer shall coordinate with the Early Learning Coalition of Palm Beach County, the ELC, to pay to the ELC in one lump sum the monthly stipend of $250 for 6 months of children expenses services for 12 Nash Trail owners. This is because this is a working class workforce area, 2 and 3 bedrooms. We know they're going to have families, young families. Both parents will probably be working. So this will provide childcare for those children who are pre-K. And we know that they are in close proximity, this development, to 3 schools. So this is a perfect place for folks who have families and do qualify for this housing. The second, on the 0.45 acre of recreation area on this area, they're going to provide shade, probably through not a concrete, but you know, those sails that provide shade for the little children. And then number 3, and I want to thank and commend Timothy Haynes from who has been working closely with us on this project. The 0.45 and 0.08 acres of tree preservation will have the possibility of having a small playground that is consistent with protecting the trees at that time. So I want to thank Greg Pettibon from Lennar. You've done an excellent job in working with us to provide childcare, make sure that our working families that come here have a place for their little children. So I commend that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When you reached out to the residents, they said they wanted I believe it was a 2-foot 9-inch berm or a 3-foot berm versus a 1-foot berm.
Correct.
And what was the reason why that couldn't be accommodated?
So the berm as it stands now is a 1-foot berm, and its purpose is stormwater retention. We have to be within 3 feet of the property line. If we move to a 10-foot berm, we have to move to 10 feet from the property line. We also would have to bring in a significant amount of fill.
Hold on one sec. A 10-foot berm? You mean a 3-foot berm would
A
have to
3-foot
be
berm would have to
10
be
feet
10 feet within the property line.
from the property line?
Correct.
Okay.
So we'd have to bring in a significant amount of fill, which would damage the existing trees that we're trying to preserve. We would also have to bring in machinery that would impact that as well. And then the berm is no longer there for stormwater retention; it's there for aesthetics only. So then we would have to re-engineer our stormwater retention to ensure that we're maintaining our stormwater on our own property. And then there's also some historical drainage that we're aware of in this area. So then we would have to make sure that we are taking care of the historical drainage as well.
And we have somebody here from do we not, staff?
Yes, we have Tim Haynes here. Tim?
Hi, Tim.
Morning, Commissioner.
When you put a 1-foot berm around trees and so on, how is the impact different than 3 feet?
The impact is different because when we get into the critical root zones, especially for slash pines, they're very sensitive and they succumb to stress very easily. So burying the root systems or any damage to the root systems kill the trees very quickly. So the amount of dirt and fill that you bring on site is going to impact those trees. So that's why the berm requirements from 1 foot to 3 feet is going to be a significant difference.
And it wouldn't cause damage at 1 foot? At 1 foot?
That would be evaluated, but typically on sites, there's already berm requirements that from land development where the water flow is not supposed to sheet off onto other properties. Those berms could vary from 5 to 6 inches to a foot, and we don't generally see a lot of tree mortality with that, but it also depends on how the contractors are able to do their better management practices of putting in tree barricades and whatnot.
Tim, let me ask this again. At 1 foot, not 5 inches, not 6 inches, at 1 foot, it wouldn't damage the trees?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
No, it will not damage the trees.
Having a little bit of a science background, taking a lot of courses on this, I'm going to respectfully disagree on the 1 foot analysis, but we'll go from there. I do believe you have to remove some trees and replant them already.
Yes, if I can pull up the slide here. Nope, went too far. So we have 82 trees that are going to be preserved in the buffer. 20 sable palms will be relocated and 19 sable palms will be preserved in place. And that is in addition to the 133 trees that are being preserved in the preservation areas.
And it's your testimony that at 3 feet, you would have to remove all those trees that are being preserved?
So with the berm being 10 feet from the property line, our buffer is 20 feet. So that means that we have 10 feet of up, we have 10 feet of down, essentially, in grade. So that would take up the entire buffer to have a 3-foot berm, and that would bring in a lot of fill. And my testimony is, and I can bring in our my environmental specialist as well, but my testimony is that we would have to remove a significant amount of those trees, if not all of them.
And are any of these properties ownership properties? Are these all rentals?
These are all fee simple.
All fee simple?
Correct.
Okay, good. So this isn't my district, and I always defer to the district commissioner when it comes to these things, but I do also like to see that we help get residents, I mean, they're not saying no to the project altogether. Asking for a 2-foot more of a berm seemed like a reasonable request. So again, I will defer to the commissioner, but I think it's good for us to always try to accommodate the residents if we feel their request is reasonable. So
Of
thank you.
course, and our attorney has been working hard with their attorney to ensure that we are attempting to meet all of their requests. But this berm issue, I think, is beyond what we can accommodate without taking out a significant portion, if not all of the trees in the buffer.
Thank you.
Commissioner Flores.
Hi there. I am the district commissioner.
You are.
Can you go back to the aerial site view where you can see the adjacent project? Right there.
Will that work?
That works.
Okay.
So this particular project is an infill. The land that you see to the east is a project that we approved in Green Acres probably about 2.5 years ago, which is going to consist of single houses, and then in the front is also going to have townhomes. So I think this particular project is very compatible to the project that's being built there right now. I know that some of the neighbors have not been happy about the development that has occurred there. But I think, as we're trying to manage and do a lot of things in the county, I think bringing more housing, especially in an infill area, I think makes absolute sense. In regards to this project with the berm, I understand the reason why going with 1 foot berm as opposed to 3. I think we're trying to preserve some of that nature area and be respectful to the surrounding neighbors, and also maintain that the nature area. So I think they've done their best to try to keep that 1 foot buffer in place. They have also worked with the fence. It's something that they were willing to do. So I commend you on that. The one hiccup for me, and I spoke to you guys at length, was the exchange. And I have been very vocal about the exchange. We are trading 4 workforce housing units for sale rather than rental for 9 rentals. That is the one component of this that I was not overly happy with. It has nothing to do with you specifically, it has everything to do with the program. I would love to, if we're requesting 4 units to be for workforce housing for sale, that's how we start making a dent, even if it's 4 units at a time. But we're doing the exchange program here where we're getting 9 rentals as opposed to 4 sale units. So I'm going to go along with this today, but moving forward, I don't want to continue to approve these. So when we have for sale opportunities, I want to keep it there. I don't want to always go to the exchange program. We have enough rental units out there, and the projects that keep coming before us is all rental. We need more for sale workforce housing units. So I'm going to go along with this today, but moving forward, I'm just putting everybody on notice. I'm not happy about the exchange program.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Flores.
Attorney Stone.
Just on that topic, the exchange is an option under the program right now, right? So in order to change the option to allow for exchange, I think that would be more of a change to the ULDC, the policy regarding it, not necessarily on a case-by-case basis. I'm just kind of making that clear that if it's an option right now, the applicant would be able to use it for future projects until such time as it was changed as part of our code.
And I can always choose to vote the way I want to. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss and then Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. My question, I think it was Mr. Palahunik, and if I butchered your name, I apologized, had asked, one of the requests I think that he had made had to do with water and sewer connection stub outs.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you, were you able to assist in that?
I believe it is a condition of approval that we have a stub out at our north entrance where our emergency access is, if staff can confirm. And that would give Mr. Palahunik the ability to connect to that stub out.
correct. Wendy, you added that condition of approval, correct?
I added a condition based on our conversation with water utilities. Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Aaron. And I do want to, this is my final comment, just agree with Commissioner Flores in terms of the exchange program. I would like to see a little bit more fee simple in terms of when we do workforce or affordable, not just reverting to the idea of creating additional rental units. Rental units, we're getting a lot of rental units here in Palm Beach County to help mitigate the housing issues that we're having. But, you know, one of the things that I think would be very important is if thoughtful consideration were given to homeownership opportunities. That is one of our biggest challenges. People who rent will, if you rent, even if it's affordable, and I know we're utilizing a program we have, it will never be ownership. I also just want to point out, and to us on the board, just these projects, and as someone who's coming from the other side, there's a lot that is involved in a project. You know, I specialize in land use, but when I work on a land use project, we also would deal with surveyors, civil engineers, traffic engineers, environmental consultants, a number of other consultants that are involved in the process. So although we may, and me as a planner, I may understand some of this, especially when it comes to the use of berms and 1 foot and 5 foot, 1 foot and 3 foot. Those who specialize with this on a daily basis, a lot of times have more information even than I do as the planner who is sitting here. They've worked on these projects. So when you have a civil engineer, they're dealing with the different levels and grade, and they're dealing with the drainage. So it's a little bit more technical than, you know, knowing something about it. It really is a comprehensive understanding of everybody who's involved in putting a project together. So I just want to make sure that we as a board are mindful that when staff is working with some of the consultants, that a lot of this there's a lot of information involved, a lot of technical work, and there's a lot of people and professionals who sometimes are not presented before the board that come here or that have worked on the project prior to them getting here, so they have a lot more information. I just don't want to sound dismissive when we're talking to staff in terms of indicating what we know as opposed to what they know, because it's, to me, as a planner, sometimes it comes off to me as if we've spent hours and weeks working on these projects when I know I haven't. And I just want to make sure we're mindful of that, because it could be, sometimes it comes off as dismissive. But we appreciate your work, Aaron. I appreciate the work that staff has done. Tim, thank you for coming up and explaining some things you did earlier. And I will close with just recognizing that.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to echo the sentiment to my fellow commissioners that I am also in favor of fee simple. I'm not a big fan of the exchange program that we currently have in place. I don't know if it's worth taking a look at the policy, but I will say that is how I lean to vote, is towards fee simple, not for the exchange program. So thank you.
Thought I'd interrupt. Staff hasn't done their presentation, and I know there are 5 people in opposition that want to get their comments on the record before a decision is made. So,
Oh, no, we're not done.
yeah, so no, I just, I don't want any questions on rules of procedure since they've already been questioned on prior hearings, so. I don't want to add any really additional beyond our staff report, but I would like to add on to the discussion of the berm. And staff has included a condition of approval because we do not have the civil plans yet as officially submitted, that we have a condition for the applicant to submit the civil drawings along with the landscape plans, the tree barricade and management plan, so that we can evaluate a 0 or a 3-foot berm, any range, in order to ensure that there is a protection of existing vegetation there. I also want to point out, even the applicant's slide mentioned, they officially submitted a tree mitigation plan, and there are 612 trees on site. And again, this is submitted by the applicant. And in their documentation, they stated that they would be preserving 234 trees in its place, and that they would be mitigating on site an additional equivalent of 327 trees. So that equates, or 327 trees, which equates to around 1,097 vegetation credits. So staff is taking that into consideration as well when you start planting all that vegetation. Whether or not a berm is going to be necessary, it's going to be very much like a forest. So that wasn't in her slides, but it was officially submitted to staff that they'd be mitigating on site. So I just want to point that out as well, because we were taking that into consideration on our evaluation of a berm or no berm. So
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks?
Yeah, I have really a question, maybe the attorney and staff. Most of us here have expressed an interest in not having this buyout. And should I wait to the end of this whole session and look at staff direction? Because if we need to have a further discussion on this, maybe we should. This applicant already applied and they have their option. But if this is a policy that we want to change, I'd like to just keep that up for discussion later on.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores?
Yeah, earlier Commissioner Sacks mentioned some conditions of approvals regarding some daycare. Is that actually in writing?
No, I believe, well, I don't know if it's in writing, but I believe those are commitments made by the developer, and Commissioner Sacks has read them into the record. They won't be a part of the actual approval, but they are commitments that the developer has obviously made.
And can I get a verbal commitment right here, right now, that we are in fact doing this?
Yes, I can make that verbal commitment. If you'd like them to come up, the Lennar team to come up and make that commitment as well, I'm happy to have them come up.
All right, let the record reflect that Lennar said yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I may, thank you, Commissioner Flores. I trust Lennar. We discussed this. I gave the name of the representative from Lennar, and this is something that I know that they will commit to, follow through with. And yes, it is a condition of approval, certainly for my vote. Thank you very much, Gregory. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Hernandez, when you just indicated that with regard to tree mitigation, there's 612 trees. The applicant is planning to preserve 234 with 327 for relocation. Is there a landscape plan that's a part of this application? I don't have it in my documents, but maybe did they submit a landscape plan prior, or is that to be submitted later?
that is to be submitted later. What they submitted, and in the backup, is their tree survey of all the vegetation that exists on site and what they plan to do with that, with the individual trees. So they've marked them, and it's included in the backup as either being preserved in site, preserved off-site, relocated off-site, or mitigated on-site. And 327 is being stated as being mitigated on-site. So they would ultimately either relocate them or cut them down and replace them with an equivalent amount of material.
Thank you. This is a question for the applicant. Is that feasible, that you will be preserving 234 trees on site that are already there that you will preserve as a part of your tree preservation portion or tree mitigation, and then you will mitigate 327, which would be either tree relocation of some of those that are already existing or the equivalent of those that exist that were removed on site? 327 trees on this particular site. Is that something that you have in the works that's even feasible?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And I think I came in late, so if I need to be sworn in.
Can you speak into the microphone? I have no clue what you're saying.
I came in a little later, so I think I may need to be sworn in. I missed that portion.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And by the way, Rick Harmon, environmental consultant with WGI. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I do want to provide a little bit of clarification on the mitigate on site. That is is terminology that's in the technical manual. That's the only choice you have. It's mitigate on site or mitigate off site. On the actual, it's just a technical requirement. The intention is to plant as much as we can on site through the landscape plan. That's not developed yet. And then the remainder, whatever that X number is, would be probably through an in lieu fee, through the buyout program. So I don't know what the number is right now. We do have some available room within the tree preservation area where we can add additional replacement trees. But
So let me get this. So with regard to, engineering, where pipe will go and where parking spaces will be and where there may be easements, and you're planning to mitigate 327 trees. So if those trees interfere with any of the parking or any of the easements where there's drainage pipes that go through where they may impact, you'd end up having to change the site plan. If they have to change the site plan, does that mean they come back to the board, or is that an amendment? The amendment doesn't need to come back to the board if we approve today. If it's
No, it won't have to come back to the board.
okay, but are you anticipating that? Have you looked at and done an overlay of your site plan with the proposed or with potentially proposed landscape plan of where you plan to relocate some of these trees? Are you in good shape?
Right.
That's the question.
right, I think that will happen. These are not the relocated trees. These are just replacement trees for trees that will be removed because of site plan impacts, the 327 number. And so those will be placed in common open spaces, throughout the site where they can fit, right? Obviously, they'll look, if there are drainage easements, they won't be proposed within a drainage easement. They won't be proposed, where a sidewalk is proposed to be.
Right. And I guess that's taken into account we talked about root balls and root systems, and some of those trees, I don't know what you're planting, but for example, live oaks, when you plant those, they can definitely impact.
Absolutely. Yes, that's, hopefully we'll rely on the landscape architect to choose the appropriate places for the species to go, and measures to counteract, whether it's a liner, along a sidewalk, things like that. But I know that that's an issue.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
Excuse me, I have a question. Did you just say that you put on the regulating plan and on the exhibit in the packet on-site and off-site, but you didn't mean it, and you might do in lieu?
That's common. Most projects, that's how it's done. We propose,
Okay, the
if you look at
technical manual that's online is now disabled because we're in the process of revising.
Right.
So clearly, we're going to revise that technical manual to say
Certainly.
that if you're intending to do an in lieu, then that is not on-site. So that term on-site won't be able to be used anymore, because if you're making a commitment in a packet that says on-site or off-site, and then saying that you're going to, instead of on-site, do in lieu, that's doesn't work with Webster's dictionary for on-site. So I just wanted to
Understood.
clarify, so consider that with your packet. Thank you.
thank you. All right. I know staff might have some additions for their presentation. I do have a question, and we talked about this in my agenda review yesterday. Commissioner Powell, your light is still on. Are you finished? I don't want to.
Madam Mayor, back off what Lisa Amara just said, you also indicated a buyout. That confused me. Can you explain that to me too? Because it would seem as if you cannot meet the standards that you set forth with regard to your application, then you would turn around and just say, we're going to pay to get out of it.
Sure.
I don't understand.
It's part of the code requires, right, mitigation to be planted on site to the greatest extent that you can, and then once there's plenty of sites where it's too small. It has to be above and beyond the landscape code requirements, and so within the code there is the ability to provide to buy an in lieu fee for the replacement trees, and that those prices are updated annually by by Environmental Resources Management, based on species. I don't know if you want any of the staff to speak to that, but it's within the code for that option.
Hello, Greg Pettibon. I'm with Lennar Homes. I have been sworn in. Perhaps just to clarify a technical realm, it is our intention to plant all, if not as many as we absolutely can on site. The same concerns shared by our neighbors about buffering and breaking up buildings and view scenes, those are the same concerns we have in selling homes. So obviously, our belief is good fences, good buffers, tree foliage, all those are major quality of life items. So just to help maybe clarify that point, we're more than happy to plant absolutely as many, if not all, on site that we can.
Thank you
Just
very
to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, so I know staff has maybe something they'd like to add. I would like some attention paid to the condition of 52nd. We talked about that yesterday in my my agenda review, and also the school bus turnaround and all that kind of stuff. So we'll do a staff presentation. Please see if you can answer those questions that I just asked, and then we have 5 cards on the subject.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have a clicker.
So we don't have to go through the whole repeat if there's anything that hasn't been stated.
I think I have clarified everything what's beyond what's already in my staff report. We did include on the addendum, add, delete, an engineering condition number 7 and condition number 8 as it relates to the construction. If this were to move forward and there's construction, that the property owner is responsible for repairing any damage that's caused to 52nd Drive South. And there's different points in A, B, and C at different times where we go out, do an initial inspection on the existing condition, and then at time of the first CO, and then prior to closeout. We also have that the construction vehicles and equipment are prohibited from parking in 52nd Drive right-of-way. So that has also been included.
Okay, thank you. We actually didn't give our disclosures yet, so why don't we go ahead and do that, and then we'll take the comment cards that we have. So, Commissioner Powell, disclosures, please, on item 5.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've had verbal communication with Henry Handler, Melissa McKinley, Aaron Lees, David Canfield, and Greg Pettibon. I have had written communication that has been from various emails, and that has been filed with the clerk.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you, Mayor. I've had, on item number 5, verbal communication with John Eubanks, Walter Ross, Robert Palahunik, Aaron Lees, Dave Canfield, Henry Handler. Received email correspondence that has been filed with the clerk.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Baxter?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I've had emails, and they've been filed with the clerk. I have had verbal communications with Henry Handler, Aaron Lees, David Canfield, Greg Pettibon, Claudio Moro, Jean Newman, and John Eubanks, and no site visit.
Thank you. The mayor's had verbal communication with Henry Handler, Melissa McKinley, Aaron Lees, David Canfield, Greg Pettibon, Walter Ross, Michael Gordon, Robert Palahunik, and Jonathan Eubanks, and I have filed correspondence with the clerk. Commissioner Sachs?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On District 5, has virtual meeting with Henry Handler, Aaron Lee, David Canfield, and Greg Pettibon. We've received and filed all the emails. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores?
I have had written communications with John Eubanks Jr., Walter L. Ross III, Melissa McKinley, and Henry B. Handler. Verbal communications with Henry B. Handler, Melissa McKinley, Gregory Pettibon, David Canfield, and Aaron Lees. No site visit, although I drive by that street all the time.
Thank you. All right, and we have 5 cards. Why don't we go ahead and call up those 5 folks.
Thank you. John Eubanks, followed by Robert Palahunik, followed by Michael Gordon, Walter Ross, and Bill Sadler.
Okay, for the record, John Eubanks, representing the various guys that you just called all their names for the cards. In looking at this issue, and I think Mr. Powell put this right up front, and more part of what we have is our neighbors. This group, when they moved out in this area, it was agricultural residential, AR. And when they moved there, and they've been there for 10, 20, in some cases 30 years, the issue was they looked at the actual ULDC and said, we're going to have a protection buffer here because the definitions are the AR district is designed to protect and enhance the rural lifestyle and quality of life of the residents of the area and in that area. Then this lifestyle is protected by RE, which is defined as to provide a transition between agricultural and conservation areas. As such, townhomes are not permitted in the RE district, and that's exactly what we found out. This application flips that. It says you don't get the protection that you thought you got from RE. We're going to switch it over. Now we're going to put two things which are incompatible, and we're going to put them side by side. So we're looking at that issues, and we try to work through and say, look, are we going to take on the world, or are we going to ask for the things that we think are the most important to us? And that's what we've done with a lot of communications. And the two things we've come down to have been talked about a good bit. Number one, we want a concrete wall all the way on the west side. Now, I've heard various things today about, well, you don't need a concrete wall there. One of the issues we have, and this goes to berms too, is we have major flooding. All along that area, we have major flooding. So to someone come in and say, we're looking for a 3-foot berm to keep that flooding out of Mr. Gordon's property and Mr. Sadler's property. So when we're talking about berms, the problem I'm hearing today is we don't really even know. We don't know because we don't have the civil planning to say whether there's a 1 foot or it could be even a 3-foot berm that our folks are looking for. And it's a little worrisome when I just heard that, hey, that could all be changed and we wouldn't come back to you all, so we wouldn't have a chance to address it. We also think it's kind of interesting that every other surrounding community has done concrete walls everywhere. We're not asking for 4 concrete walls around the entire property. We're asking for 1 along the agricultural residential agent. So we're really kind of looking back at this, and we're glad that people are at least talking to us, but we're really thinking, look, the berm, and then Mr. Palahunik has an issue for the road as well, being torn up now, and would like to see it actually done in a better way in the future. So from our standpoint, the wall, the concrete wall, and I want to also put in something in the last couple seconds. The concrete wall extension is not in the nature preserve area. It's in the buffer. The buffer is not in the nature preserve area. So if there's 5 or 6 or 10 trees that are lost because we're asking for a concrete wall, that could be mitigated, as we're hearing, in many different ways as well. So we think we should be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Baxter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A question for staff. Is it common that we do not have civil plans at this point?
Yes.
When do we generally get those?
Olive Bailey with Land Development, excuse me. So we will get those civil plans actually at the time of DRO approval. We'll look at their historic drainage study, so we'll see some calculations at that point. And then we see their official civil plans at the time they submit for their plat and their required improvements approval.
And have we looked at if this is built because of floodplain, even if this whole development is much higher than the surrounding AR that's right next to it, have we looked at its impact of the flooding of that area? And are we making it worse by approving this?
So we look at that when they do their historic drainage study, which is the next step. I have seen some of the survey, and it looks like the elevations between the two properties are pretty similar.
Even after being built?
Not after being built, but right now they're pretty similar. So I'm not certain if there's flooding right now. But after it's been built, they have to keep their drainage on their site to discharge to the canal. So they can't not impact their neighbors. Now, if there is historical drainage that's coming through their property, they have to take that into account into their calculations as well.
I've seen pictures of pretty bad flooding.
Mm-hmm.
in their area, and I want to make sure we are not making it worse.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's that condition for the historic drainage study. At the next step is when we'll look at that. And that's typically when that happens.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. Just following up on my colleagues' questions. What's the law on this? What is the requirement?
Requirement for,
For holding their own water, drainage?
I believe there's code provisions that require legal positive outfall.
Correct. That's in Article 11, and they're required by Article 11 to take their drainage and not impact their neighbors.
So it's not permissible,
Correct.
and this has been in the code for how long?
I can't give you an exact date, but it's been in there for a long time.
So when development happens in Palm Beach County and has for quite some time, it is required that the developer or the property owner of where the new development is going to happen has to hold their own water.
Correct.
And take any, if there was a natural flow coming from their neighbors onto their property, they have to continue to take that water.
That's correct.
And so that's what's in the code, has been in the code,
Correct.
and as far as we know, is going to continue to be in the code.
Correct.
So you cannot impact your neighbors with your drainage.
You cannot.
And if they have drainage that comes onto your property,
I have to take it in.
you have to have the ability and the facilities to take that in.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Robert Palahunik, 5536 52nd Drive South. So we've been talking about this for a long time, and yes, we have a forest, and we want to keep the forest. What's interesting is the workforce housing. They asked for a 39% increase. That's 14 units. They're going to buy it out. They're going to give you 570, and they're going to pocket 1.5 million. Lennar operates, per their CEO, on an 18.7% gross margin. It might trend down based on interest rates, but they're still making a lot of money, and it's a billion-dollar corporation. So why are they trying to buy it out? Build the units at site, 14 units on site. As for the rentals, there's no time frame. The rentals could be sold a year later. So there is no, I don't know if that's the case, Commissioner Weiss, but it's a question that I'm going to ask. As for the road, I asked for my road to be paid from their entrance up. It's already been improved by the county, spoke to Road and Bridge, 10 inches of fill, crushed asphalt. It could handle 3 inches of paving, no problem. Yeah, the road's going to be replaced at some date in the future. When that is, I don't know. We asked for pines to be planted, not palms, because eagles, bald eagles that live on the canal by Green Acres fly down into the neighborhood and they land there. I have pictures of them. I didn't submit them, but they come every so often. Raptors don't land in palm trees. They land in slash pines or grow 50, 60 feet in the air. If you look at the subdivision down south, there's not one tree above the roof lines. And Green Acres completely cleared the entire parcel. Lennar is going to clear a good portion of it because they have to bring it up to grade. It's below grade. It's below 52nd Drive. So when you bring in all that fill, you're going to kill the trees anyways. You're going to have to replant them. My neighbors are going to ask for a wall on the west side to continue the entire length so it's consistent. Yes, they are building a semi-concrete wall around the Horton property. It should be consistent, not chain link fence, opaque walls. I do appreciate the stub out from, I do, because it's concerning me that septic and city water wouldn't be available and my ground won't perk, and then it's contamination. I'm not so sure that this is the right fit for the neighborhood, although we didn't fight them. Townhomes against single-family estate homes. I didn't buy over there to have single townhomes next to me. I bought where there were similar type homes, equestrian. So with that being said, yeah, it's going to go through, but we've only asked for a few things. We asked for a paved road, city water, city sewer, and heavy landscaping to make it look similar to what we currently have. And that's all we've ever asked for. This could have been done 4 months ago, or 5 months ago, but it was a continual fight. No, 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 no. And it's better than what it was, but it could still be better. And that's all we're asking for. Thank you.
Good morning. Michael Gordon, 5360 Oldsmobile Drive, Lake Worth. I am the property owner to the southwest corner of the developer's site plan, and it's the AR zoned equestrian property that we've been referring to over and over again. So what I want to make clear is the property that abuts my property. It's very low-lying. It's very wet. And that really hasn't been discussed. There has been no civil engineering done that we've talked about. Look forward to seeing that. And in their proposal, they have I'll call it a playground, the play area, in that very extreme southwest corner. The kids can't go play in that right now. That's all going to have to be bulldozed and raised grade and made into a playground. Right now, it's a swamp. It will dry out in November, and then it will get very wet again starting in June. So that area there, as far as tree preservation, whatever they've counted in that area, that's gone. Every bit of vegetation will be wiped out in that area. Moving just a little bit to the north of that, where the dry retention area that they propose, again, it's a very low-lying area. If you look at their site overview satellite, you'll see that there's very little foliage in that area that has designated as being saved. That the reason is it's very low-lying. It's a bunch of Brazilian pepper, low-lying ferns. That area as well will have to be completely raised by grade and all the vegetation in that area completely removed. That being said, that leaves me with basically nothing other than what they want to plant back there. I'm not so worried about the density in planting. I'm worried about the retainment of water. They talk about dry retainment just on the other side of that wall. There's nothing dry about that area. The only way it's going to be dry is if they raise the grade 3 to 4 feet. They can keep themselves dry. One of the other reasons for the height of the berm is Colony Reserve. When we worked with them 20 years ago, we all agreed the higher the berm, put the 6-foot wall on there, and we did that, and it's been wonderful for 20 years. To my west, just south of this playground area we talk about, that turned into a preserve area. Okay, water isn't shed off, water can't go anywhere, it goes right into the ground and can't go anywhere. Hence, that's why I'm looking for a 3-foot berm and the 6-foot wall to help preserve what I have already in my property, because I know you guys have to raise grade on your side. Thank you.
Good morning. Walter Ross, 5407 Nash Trail, agriculture business, 30 years there. Just want to say that we're not opposed to having this development so close, but all we really want on the west side is a contiguous 3-foot berm, 6-foot wall, that is good for both neighbors to mitigate drainage and also safety and the impacts of hurricane storms. I know you have historical data and consultants and stuff, but you're looking at the consultants, the people that have lived there for 30 years, and we build our own berms to mitigate the runoff. And we're just trying to work with the applicant just like we did with the colony. And it's proven that the cement wall has withstood all the storms. The berms have withstood all of the recollection, 20 inches of rain in 24 hours. So we understand what's going on, and we've offered these solutions and support for this berm and wall, and that's what all we're asking to have done, some certainty that will go on forever. Okay, this business about, well, we'll fix it after the impact. Just remind you that you can hide from the wind, but you got to run from the water. And to that point, we're more than happy to have a civil engineer look at it as a land survey to show, prove what we've experienced in the past 30 years. For me and my neighbor Raleigh and the others, that we just want to be very careful to have, the separation but retaining the use and quality of our lifestyle and business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Bill Sadler. We reside at the 5319 Oldsmanville Drive. We border the new development on the northwest side. I want to say a couple things, and we've been saying it in several meetings. The one thing Lennar keeps on stating is that the proposed multifamily development is compatible with surrounding uses. It may be compatible to the uses to the east, but it's certainly not compatible with the AR zoning to the west, which is our properties. That's one thing that kind of is concerning. But regardless, we know it's going to go through. But as my neighbors have indicated, we need concessions. We've been asking for this berm, this continuous concrete wall along the entire west boundary. Lennar stated that they're transitioning from a solid concrete wall to a plastic fence along my property because it's not an agricultural use. Well, we don't have an ag exemption. I guess maybe that's what they're referring to. But we have a pasture, we have stables. We bought the property in 2009 to raise horses for my kids. And we don't have horses there today, but we've historically had 5 horses in our pasture, and my kids love to ride horses. So all we're asking for, which I don't think is too much, is why can't we have the protection of our property using a berm, using this concrete wall along the entire west boundary? I think that's not asking a whole lot for the impact this development is going to cause on our lifestyle out there. We didn't buy the property, as my neighbors indicated, to be next to multifamily developments. We bought it because it's private, it's quiet, secure. The property was a nursery for many, many years when we bought the property, bought our property. So now we got to live with the townhomes. We just want maximum security and protection of our property. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Weiss, your light is on, and then Commissioner Flores. Commissioner Flores, Mr. Sadler, could you come back up, please? Commissioner Flores has a question for you.
Sir, you indicating that the townhomes are not secure, that they don't provide safety? Well, I don't understand that comment. Because we're going to have townhomes in there, that makes it not a safe place anymore?
Well, it's different having living next to 5 homes. Now we're living next to 53 townhomes with a lot of people. I'm not saying it's not going to be safe. We just want maximum security. If we put our horses back in our pasture, we don't want people climbing over a plastic fence to get access to our property to impact our livestock. So I'm not saying it's not going to be a safe development. I'm sure Lennar's going to make sure it's a safe development, but certainly not as safe as what's there now, which is 5 estate
I've
homes.
lived in a townhome and I've never jumped over a 6-foot fence to go anywhere else. So I don't understand the comment.
Well, we just feel as though a concrete barrier wall, a solid concrete barrier wall, is going to provide better noise protection and just overall more secure security for our property.
Okay.
Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to clarify this question on the exchange program and those units. So if maybe staff can help explain. So can those units be taken out of the pool? Can they be sold or transferred to somebody else so that they no longer continue to be workforce housing protected units?
For the record, Travis Goodson with the Planning Division. Those units will have like other workforce projects, will have a restrictive covenant that will start the rental period for 30 years. If those units were to be converted to a for sale opportunity, they would have to redo their restrictive covenant, and the 15-year restriction for the for sale units would start at the time that the units are converted to for sale.
But those units could not be converted to anything other than workforce housing during either the 15 or the 30-year period.
That's correct, 30 years for the rental.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Patrick?
Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to add one point. There was mention made of, with the exchange, in lieu buying out, money coming to the county. I want to be really, really clear. That is not what's contemplated. The code contemplates the fee. The fee is a function of the in lieu, but that's what goes to the exchange builder. No money comes to the county. It just ensures it's that support and backstop for the production of the units off-site. And if I may, just on the exchange program in general, heard a number of you discussing it. We were here with you in August on potential changes to the code. This is not one that we could recommend for approval. Any modifications to the exchange program would violate the Senate Bill 180. If you're making any provisions more restrictive, hear the point. I've heard the board discuss this at two times, but that's not one that we can take up right now while we're under the constraints of 180.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, your light is still on. Did you want to?
Yeah, regarding the comment that Patrick just made, I would like us to do some legal research on that particular item, since it is an option. They have other options available. We're not restricting them. So I would like us to do some legal research before we make a final determination if that's an option that we in fact can or cannot limit. So I don't want to rush right now. I want us to do research, please.
We can look further at that, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks and then Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. And with regard to what Commissioner Flores just said to our county attorneys, can we get a letter on this for all of us rather than just look into it? Could we have, and I've asked before for an opinion letter, I haven't received it yet. So
Yes.
I'm looking at you, sir. Will we be able to have an opinion letter on that issue brought up by Commissioner Flores?
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a question for Mr. Pettibon. I wonder if you could come on up again, if you don't mind, Greg. Excuse me for calling you Greg. One of the issues that we determine, and we look at whether we're going to approve or deny a project, is a compatibility with the surrounding area. It appears to me, and this is not my district, but it appears to me that one of the big issues is a wall. What is the issue, sir? Put that wall all around your development, and I think that would please, the old saying, good fences make good neighbors. Is there any reason why Lennar, the largest developer in the country, cannot put a wall around your area?
Actually, good point, and something that I am happy to discuss here and also to commit to relatively on this. I might ask, we have no great objection to doing a concrete wall.
Okay.
It was a practicality of working around and trying to retain the actual trees that were along the pines and things that were along that property line. I would be more than happy if we could work out with staff after this approval that if we can do on that western property where we can do a concrete wall, we do a concrete wall and we extend it north of that, but where we have to break and then we have to work around or angle around the trees to retain the trees, that we would then transition sections of it to the other wall type. I'm more than happy to do that. I just
Tell you the truth, I love trees, but I love people more.
Absolutely.
Okay, so staff, what do you say about if we have a tree that's in the middle of the line, property line, to build a wall to please people? Is that what we're looking at, that we can't put a wall there because there's a tree standing there?
This issue just hasn't.
Now, hold on just one
like
second,
this
sir.
come up.
No.
Okay.
We can work with the applicant and they can maneuver the wall around the tree or
What are these, like beautiful 100-year-old walnuts or oak trees, or are these
They're
these
slash
palm trees?
pines, and they
Georgia slash pines?
they're the Florida slash pine. It is quite beautiful out there.
I know, Joy.
so,
They
yeah.
destroyed them when a certain developer put it behind our community. Destroyed every one of them. So I would like for you to work with our staff and the community. And if it's a Georgia slash pine, God bless it. But we need to please the people, and maybe we can work around that.
We can work around with them since we have
They're fast growing.
Since we have the condition already as it relates to us evaluating a berm, that we can also evaluate the location of the wall.
And I know you're committed to that, Mr.
And it's never been a function of cost. It was always a function of, when you do a concrete wall, you bring in a crane typically, you have to maneuver the panels around, and it's just a practicality of that. So we're happy to do as much of that western property line as we can with a concrete wall.
I appreciate
and we
that.
gap between the trees to angle around.
I have to say, you've been very good about making this happen so that your neighbors are happy, and it's cost effective for you
Thank you.
as well.
And
So appreciate
to that point on them, all fine, very decent people that we've enjoyed, even though we've become a little bit,
contentious. in some issues,
but
yeah.
tremendous good people. So thank you.
I know they are. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Pettit. And thank you, Wendy, for working with that on.
Okay, Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff, for clarification, what is the impetus for trying to save trees on site? Why is that a part of, kind of what's behind why do we want to save trees, especially trees that have been there or on site?
We'll have answer your question.
Hi, good morning once again, Tim Haynes, we have a code requirement for parcels that have native vegetation, and part of our requirements is that we have to preserve to the greatest extent possible, and that's the first line. Then relocate, try to have, maybe off-site mitigation options, and also the buyout as a more secondary source. But we do have a code requirement, especially for parcel sizes that have dense vegetation and quality tree canopy and habitat. That's what our code requires us to do.
Thank you. Tim, what's the reason behind that? Do you know, is because it's harder to grow that type of vegetation? Is it preserving the natural environment?
Yes, it's
areas. What's behind that?
Yeah, it's all in place to preserve the natural Florida ecosystem that we have now, and that that coincides to a lot of different things that we have with preserving the native tree canopy species. It's all in place that we have for what we need to do as far as the code goes, and also comp plan policies. So,
thank you, sir.
Well,
While you're still there,
no, go ahead.
While you're still there,
He's there.
We talked earlier about tree count. So if you've got a native Florida slash pine, how many trees does that actually count for?
So it depends. We have our counts are based off of the size of the trees. So it's all based off of
So
credits.
if it's over 20 feet, is it considered 2 trees? In the
Basically,
tree count?
yes.
And palm trees are considered half a tree?
No, palm trees are 1 for 1 for any of those replacements, but based off the size of the pines and hardwoods, it's based off of the tree sizes, how we get to those mitigation credits.
And how successful is someone if they try to relocate a Florida slash pine?
Not very successful. It depends on the size. If you get probably between a 6 or 7 inch DBH, which is diameter at breast height, it might have some chance of survivability. Anything larger than that, it's not going to survive.
Okay, so it would behoove us to keep these trees in their place, in their location as much
Correct.
as possible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Vice
you.
Mayor.
Did
that help?
Yes, but I still had.
I was just echoing the sentiments of Commissioner Sachs that I would love to see a wall. So thank you to the builders to be put in for the residents. So thank you.
I still had additional questions.
Sure, go right ahead, sorry.
And I don't know who this would be for, but looking through the application that was submitted, I just want to be clear, and I just want to confirm with staff that the only things that have been submitted thus far are the regulating plan, the subdivision plan, and the preliminary master signage plan. Has there been a site plan, a preliminary site plan submitted that's online or somewhere as of yet?
Because it's a townhouse development, they submit a subdivision plan, not a site plan, and that has been submitted.
So if we approve this today, we'd be approving the subdivision plan that's online and that's also part of this application.
Correct.
Go ahead, Lisa.
And I do want to clarify that question on the civils. So apparently a long time ago, it was decided that civil plans would not be required for public hearing items at the board, even though other local governments do those civil plans at this stage. So we do the landscape plan and the civil plan down the road, even though we have a subdivision plan in our packet that's being approved. But that ends up with a lot of tweaking, with administrative modifications and moving things around a lot. So that's just something to clarify in the plans that we have now. And, when those historical civil plans, historical drainage plans that Olive mentioned will be reviewed, it may have slight tweaks. And ultimately, when they go for building permit is when the landscape plan and the civil plans are done. So that's why this is a level of specificity on the subdivision plan now, and there's some of those civils we won't have till later.
Thank you for that. And I think a part of my questioning was, at some point a while back, there was some conversation with regard to requiring the civil plans to be submitted at the time of application, but that has not been something that the county has moved forward on, correct?
Not yet, but that's been discussed. When we had a lot of conversation a couple years ago on that AI review with these site plans, most of the review that we do here is for circulation and layout and buffers. Circulation and AI didn't do anything for that. Where that AI came in amazingly handy is when you have your site plan, your civil plan, your landscape plan. That really was great. And we've talked about modifying the system a little bit in the future, but we haven't done it yet.
Follow up on that. Thank you for that. Civils are not required. What about the landscape plan? That's not required at the time, but I know there were conversations with regard to maybe even requiring that too.
We don't usually do the landscape plans at this stage. Those are at with that kind of, and what we're looking at it as a step before building permits to do the landscape plan, final site plan, or subdivision plan, and civils landscape prior to building permit. I think that's a conversation that might come up as they're crunching and consolidating the building permit review. Right, Whitney? Is that what we talked about?
Yeah, that's exactly it, because in the past, civil plans were a requirement for the county, and then at some point they went away from them. So there must have been a reason why that happened. I'm sure it was for streamlining the process type of thing. And then at the building permit stage, the civil plans and then the land development permit, civil plans are required at that point. And then architecture and landscape are required at building permit. So but it's a process we've been talking about. Because it does require a lot of tweaks when it does get to building permit, where it comes back to zoning for a site plan amendment. So we kind of have to get some feedback from industry too on that, I would think as well. So.
Thank you. I was going to say, does it streamline the process on the front end, but maybe that's something that we can look at, has elongated the process on the back end, because if you've got to change the civils because of landscaping or whatever, trying to put things in that work or don't work, I don't know how beneficial that is, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, you wanted to add something, question?
I should say, if we're going to potentially bring back with direction the exchange program, this might be a good time to also take a look at if we as a board want to require civil plans at the public hearing stage again and see what that looks like. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss, and then Commissioner Flores.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, one of our speakers talked about Brazilian peppers being on the property. Those are those, what's the status of Brazilian peppers in our code?
They're considered invasive.
So they're considered in Florida, and it's not, is it just here or is it throughout the state?
It's throughout the state.
I don't know about throughout the
Berm.
state.
Help us.
Martin County, it's throughout the state.
Yeah, so that's going to be throughout the state. It's a exotic, non-native species, and we have requirements that they're removed.
So they're not considered something that's beneficial to the environment and considered invasive, that they actually harm our native habitat?
Correct, and they outcompete. It depends on who you talk to. You know, I've heard some beekeepers, they use some of those species, but really they outcompete the native species that we have here, and so we want those removed.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Flores, you want to wrap it up?
Yes, talking about the invasive species, there's canals all around that particular area, and the Lake Worth Water Management District struggles with that particular species, and they're constantly cleaning them out. So that's a point that I wanted to make. Regarding the civil plans, and Vice Mayor made the point regarding the civil plans, I would like to have that discussion, and because I think sometimes we're making decisions here without all the information. So that, I think that would allow us to have all the information, but I do want to see what, when it comes to efficiency, what occurs if they have to put it up front as opposed to later on. And then I want to go back to the wall slides that the applicant showed, because I think there's a lot of conversation about the wall. There is a wall that's going in place. There is going to be a concrete, and there's going to be a component that's going to be whatever material it is. But can you explain what material that is and why you have chosen to do that for the remaining one more time?
Yeah, so it's a Simtech fence, Simtech being the brand name. Do you want to answer?
I might.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
And also, if I may, sir, we happily conceded that we would put as much of that western wall as concrete as a concession to the neighborhood to the west. But to your question, the Simtech wall, it's a, and I might,
can we
I
put
might
up
use
the slide
the wrong term,
so that we can see it as you're speaking?
but it is a. Can you adjust the?
Yeah, I can get.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what was sent from the website.
Okay. It's a, I guess it's like a high-density polyethylene or polymer type wall structure. It's all contiguous in color, so you don't paint it. If it's scraped, it's still the color that shows through. If somebody graffitis it, you pressure wash the graffiti off of it. I've used it with good success in a number of different neighborhoods. Unless you're within maybe 10 feet or so, it doesn't appear as anything other than a concrete wall. But it's easier to angle, and it's easier to adjust around conflicts like trees, and that was our intention in using that section of the wall. Which again, to reiterate, we're more than happy to do as much of that as we can. Say, for instance, if this microphone were a tree, we could do concrete up to the point that we would get in proximity to it, and then maybe we transition with a 45 around the tree and then go back to concrete. However we can work that out with staff, we're very amenable to make that happen.
I would like that to be how you guys proceed moving forward. I think that's sort of what I heard from the board here.
Yep.
So with that being said, I would like to make the motion to approve.
Commissioner Powell.
For clarity, the landscaping and landscape buffer, what portion of the wall do we anticipate seeing, right? How big is the landscape buffer?
The landscape buffer along the western property line is 20 feet.
Where will the wall be with regard to that landscape buffer?
Let me...
Is the vegetation in front of or behind the landscape buffer?
So on the screen, you can see an example of what our western buffer adjacent to the residential properties look like. So to the left is going to be the property line. Then you have that 1 foot berm, and there is going to be plantings on either side of the wall.
When you say either side, are you saying both sides?
Correct, on both sides.
So will we be able to see the wall or see the proposed material that you have there? Is it anticipated that once vegetation reaches maturity, that we will be able to see either the wall or the vegetation?
I don't want to speak to what we're going to be seeing in 10 years, but I can anticipate that the vegetation is going to be very heavy along that wall. So I wouldn't be surprised if the wall is completely hidden at some point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I had a motion from Commissioner Flores, a second from Commissioner Sacks.
Madam Mayor, but before, I just wanted to clarify the wall condition with staff. There is currently a condition that requires the 6-foot opaque fence along the 610 northern portion of the west property line. So would that just be changed to wall instead of fence?
Yes, so landscape perimeter west property line, condition number 1B, there is a requirement that says to provide a 20-foot type 1 incompatible buffer, including a 6-foot opaque fence. So that one would be modified to say a 6-foot high concrete wall on the northern 610 feet. But I'd like to have an additional condition that says that prior to final DRO, the location of the 6-foot wall on the west property line would be evaluated along in conjunction with the berm so we can maneuver it around any existing vegetation.
Is that acceptable?
I'll modify my motion to include that language.
Commissioner Sacks?
I just want to make sure that we, along with that condition of approval, we also have the ones that had been previously mentioned by Commissioner Sacks and confirmed by the applicant.
I don't believe those conditions would be part of the application. I don't know if there's a nexus between that and our code provisions.
There definitely is when it comes to child
Is the
care
applicant
centers.
in
And he has, I
applicant's
just
in
want to make
agreement?
sure that
Okay.
it's all part of it.
Could
I
you-
have his commitment, so I just want to make sure it's on there. I trust Lennar.
Yes, you do have our
Trust this
commitment on
gentleman.
that condition.
So just want to be sure.
I might ask
Thank
Wendy
you.
if we could, the additional wall that may be in that condition of approval, that we just work it out that with staff, we would jog it around trees and transition it to the other wall type on those instances where we have direct conflicts. We're happy to do that.
But you're saying to the fence, the Simtech
Yes,
fence,
ma'am, yeah. So
right?
where we have to angle it around an existing large tree, we would transition at that point to go around that conflict.
With the
into
6-foot high
Simtech.
fence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
So
But the word fence is not the right word.
no, it is. So basically what he's saying is that we would have, the majority would be the 6-foot high concrete wall on the west property line. But in areas where it has to move around existing vegetation, it would bend and use the Simtech fence.
Okay. Thank you. We're good? We got a motion, a second. All in favor, all opposed, see that motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Okay, we are now on item 6, regular agenda item 6. Does anyone need a staff presentation? A brief one?
So we can turn, staff or the agent?
I'm sorry, does it?
I tell you what, since it's in my district, I've reviewed this, we can move right on to the applicant.
Okay, we're going to move right on to the applicant. Before we do that, does anyone have disclosures on item number 6? Commissioner Powell.
No disclosures on item 6, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Weiss.
No disclosures.
Vice Mayor.
No disclosures.
I have no disclosures. Commissioner Sacks on item number 6.
I should have disclosures, but I don't have them here. So at this point, I'll say, but I met with y'all. So, excuse me, I met with, tell me your name again. Alex.
Alex
Alex.
Ehrenholz with Jay Morton.
That's right. I met with this gentleman and with Lauren McClellan and Jennifer Morton, right? And receive and file emails. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
And Commissioner Flores.
No disclosures.
Thank you very much. Sir, would you like to do a brief presentation?
Yeah, I'll make it quick.
Thank you.
So, good morning, Commissioners. Alex Ehrenholz with Jay Morton Planning and Landscape Architecture. Here to present the Lions Glades Center MUPD. I also have Lauren McClellan from our office here in attendance as well. So this is an existing MUPD located at the northwest corner of Lions Road and Glades Road. It's part of the urban serpentier, but it's a mile west of Florida's Turnpike and a mile east of State Road 7, and fully surrounded by existing developments. The application before you is just a development order amendment to relocate on an unbuilt medical office building, Building 4. We're changing the medical office use to retail and restaurant, and it's an overall decrease in the square footage. As you can see, the property is zoned to MUPD, which is consistent with the corridor. It's general commercial and MUPD along Glades Road, and that's not proposed to change at all. You can see the existing site on the aerial here. It includes 3 buildings. The northernmost 9,000 square foot retail building. There's a central 5,900 square foot office and retail. And then the south building on the corner is a 15,000 square foot bank and office building. It includes 2 right-in, right-out driveways along Lyons, and then 1 right-in, right-out driveway along Glades. So the currently approved site plan came before you in 2023. It included a medical office building, 6,000 square feet in the northwest corner, circled here. And it was not affecting any of the existing buildings, their associated parking, or the access points. And for that application, we included a cross access to the west. So before you today is the unbuilt medical office building is being shifted to the south, as circled here. And then again, there's no changes to those 3 existing buildings or their associated parking or the access. And we're also maintaining the cross access to the west. The use is changing from medical office to retail, and the property owner identified that as a more higher demand in the community, and so located it closer to Glades Road where it's more visible. We met with Commissioner Sachs yesterday, and we're stating on the record that we've agreed to meet with FDOT regarding the access point on Glades Road, and we'll provide her an update after that. So to summarize, the application is consistent with the ULDC. The applicant agrees with all the conditions of approval. Staff is recommending approval, and Zoning Commission recommended approval 7-0, and we respectfully request the BCC approve this amendment. So that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any additional questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, Alex, for your presentation. I didn't have any questions at first. Then I saw you were presenting. So now I would like to be recognized for a series. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Alex. Medical office to retail. You know what type of retail?
General retail. They don't have specific uses yet, or users, end users.
That's it, Alex. I have no further questions.
Okay.
Commissioner Sachs.
Otherwise, no meeting. You hear what I said? He brings the boys that are no meeting. Thank you so much. And is this your first presentation?
In front of this board, yes.
Wow. All right. We'll go easy on you.
Okay.
Now, we are going from 26,088 square feet of development to over 36,000 square feet of development in an area that is heavily traveled, Glades and Lyons Road. Do we know? I know we know. What's going to be the effect of traffic? Lyons Road is highly watched by everybody that lives on Lyons Road, whether they're in my district or not. So what is the traffic report about traffic out of this higher density area on Glades and Lyons, sir? And I'm looking at our traffic engineer.
Their proposed development plan will have very similar traffic as their already approved project. So this will be a kind of a wash.
It'll be a what? It'll be a wash?
Right.
Now, how do we know if it's going to be a wash? Let me just hold that for a minute.
Yeah.
What's that restaurant that's going in there, sir? This large restaurant that we're adding to this site plan of 36,000 square.
I mean, it's a 25,000 square foot sit-down restaurant, but we don't have an end user.
But we do
yet.
not know what the name of the restaurant is.
Correct.
So how can we determine traffic I mean, it could be a restaurant nobody wants to eat at. I mean, this is West Boca. We like our restaurants. Do you not have to consider that before you make your recommendation on traffic, sir?
Trip rates are based on very general, like it's just called sit-down restaurant. It's not based on a particular brand, so.
So it could be any restaurant, very popular or not very popular, doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, as far as the trip rates are concerned on the books.
Okay. So there's not going to be, and I want to remember this when people complain about Lyons Road, that Lyons and Glades is very, very popular area.
Right.
But we're not going to have, it's going to be a wash. No additional traffic.
Correct. From their already approved project.
From this project, sir.
Correct.
That's what we're talking about.
Right.
And that's based on their traffic study with a build-out date of December 2025.
I thought it was 2026, the build-out.
No, it's 2020. Their already approved project has a build out of 2025. So they did a revised trip generation analysis. They showed their trip will be a wash. So they didn't use a revised build out date. So,
According to our plans here from staff, even after adding the project trips, this confirms that all significantly impacted intersections are expected to operate at acceptable service levels during the PM peak hour in the build-out year 2027.
yeah, that's what that study was done by us because you requested it. So we used a 2-year grace period, you know.
So, but they're going to start in 2026? Wendy, is that what we're hearing?
As I'm understanding from Quasi, he did a separate analysis. The analysis that the applicant has and what's in these conditions of approval have a condition of approval for them to not receive any building permits after December 31st of 2025. Then they would have to submit a new traffic study.
And who does the traffic study after December of 2025? Do we or do they?
They would have to submit it and staff would evaluate it.
Okay, may I see a copy, even though it may be
Yeah, when we
approved today?
receive it, we'll send it to
Because this
you.
is a very important intersection. Okay.
Sure.
So come on up here, Mr. Usher. You're not done yet. And good luck. You're with a good firm.
Thank you.
When will I know what restaurant, and I'm not going to name the owner of this area at this time, but when will he know what restaurant he's going to put there?
Likely sometime in 2026.
Okay, I want to know this when we talk about the traffic study as well. Okay. I think, and we're moving that retention pond to the other side so that the restaurant is going to have access to Glades and Lyons.
Yes.
Frontage, right,
Yes.
sir? Okay. And you're going to be checking with FDOT in terms of being able to facilitate those exits out of that area? Okay.
Yes.
I don't have any further questions at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. While Commissioner Sachs was there, I had some more questions that I thought about for you, Alex. This is, and you indicated restaurant. Is there any proposed outdoor seating? And if there were, if it's not approved here, you'd have to bring it back. Is that something you're prepared to do?
Yeah, so we're showing 300 square feet of outdoor seating. Oh. And so that's included in the concurrency and traffic analysis.
What if it's a cheesecake factory? Alex, what would we do there?
I don't think it's large enough to be a cheesecake factory because there's only 2,500 square feet, which is a smaller sit-down restaurant.
That's it, Madam Mayor.
Would someone like to make a motion? Would someone like to second that?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? See, that motion carries 6-0. Just as a reminder, if we get to 12 o'clock, we'll take a lunch break at 12, come back at 1. And I know the Vice Mayor needs to move on quickly. So if we get to that point, then I would see moving up the attorney's discussion to 1 o'clock when we return from lunch. Okay? All right. So we are now on items 7 and 8. They go together, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, this is also in Commissioner Sachs's district. Commissioner Sachs, would you like a presentation?
By the applicant, madam.
Okay.
Fine. Closer we get to lunch.
Josh,
Or-
go right ahead.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Josh Nichols for the record, with Schmidt-Nichols. This morning I have with me the property owners as well as the project architect, so if we have any questions, we can defer to them on those. But this is the Boca Raton Commerce Center 3. We have, just in the interest of time, again, I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I did want to present items 7 and 8 together, if that was okay. Had a feeling. So I will start cruising through here. So site area, so we've got 4.79 acres. We've got existing use on the property as a professional office, and the south portion is vacant currently. Access is from 210th Street South, and we'll talk a little bit more about that access. Current land use is commercial low office with underlying industrial. So that industrial is the portion that we're looking to change. And the current zoning is MUPD. So we do have public storage to our east. You can see a super mixed concrete plant, USPS, one of their main facilities to our south. Also a couple other small industrial, light industrial projects. And then Meisner Point is the other residential to our west. So the only residential there. So kind of a eclectic mix of uses. So this is the current future land use map. So again, commercial law office with the industrial. And we are proposing to change that industrial to the HR 12, obviously to be more compatible, make a transition between the industrial to the residential. Proposed use, as I said, was a professional office will stay, and we're adding 89 units of multifamily to the project. Zoning will stay as MUPD. So again, this is the request. I won't belabor this, but base density is 57 units. We are asking for TDRs and 22 workforce housing bonus units. I am happy to say, after hearing the couple projects before, that we are doing 25% workforce on site. So they will be built on site within the project. I think I'm going to go past this. This is just project history. So it has been through and come through a couple times, but just hasn't moved forward. And those were industrial projects. So the only reason I have these couple slides is basically to show the work that we've done leading up to now. We've really met with the community to our west, Meisner Point, quite a few times. And in doing so, I won't go through all that. So we had a 5- and 6-story building set back at about 100 feet. It was 110 units when it started. So this is kind of what it looked like. We were at 63 to 71 feet overall. We met with them again. Changed that to a 4-, 5-, and 6-story model, reduced the units to 106, went back to them again, and finally we came down by 20% of our total number of units to 89. We're at a 4- and 5-story building, and our parking waiver also came down quite a bit, almost in half of what we originally approved or proposed on that. So 4 and 5 stories, 89 units. We're still at the 100-foot setback. We could be at half of that setback at that height, so we think we've done a good job there trying to stay away from there. And you can see the kind of the ghosted image there of the before and after. Also, there was a concern about window views, line of sight into the property owners to our east, or sorry, to our west. So we did clear story windows there, and also clear story in the bathrooms that would be there in the hallway. So we don't have any views into those backyards. Just to make sure you can see those windows as well there. They do have balconies though on all the other units. Just kind of pointing that out. Just kind of quick running through the project. So you can see the northern building is the existing office. Southern building is the multifamily that we're proposing. Access to the north. We do have a considerable amount of open space and recreational area between the uses and within pool area within the multifamily building. Here's just some pretty pictures here. One thing that came up through our process with the community was traffic on Boca Rio Road. So what I'm pleased to show is that with just the medical use, if you were to build it all out, you're at about 4,000 trips per day. With the proposal of getting rid of that amount of commercial and office and going to the residential, we're at a 600% reduction in traffic over what the current land use allows. So happy to bring that forward. Consistency with the code. And so here's our one issue I think we're down to, is that there's a condition that was applied to both the comp plan and to the zoning side of the application that talks about school bus drop off and pickup. School board says they don't want to come into the community. And we said, I don't see why not. I drive around the county. In the morning, I see school buses coming out of communities. I see school buses going into communities. I'm not sure why. Their response was, that's our policy. And I said, well, I understand your policy, but there's a safety concern here. The commissioners have expressed that. Where we're in a pinch is that where you can see highlighted in yellow, that is an access easement to this site. So we do not own the property that exists within that yellow highlight. Our property line starts where the red dash is. So we have a sidewalk that was implemented when we actually did the first approval on this, and it goes to our property line. So the choices in the conditions are we either build the sidewalk out to Boca Rio Road, which is on someone else's property, or we build a bus shelter on site and that the school board can come in and that's where the kids get picked up. Well, I don't have control over either of those items. I'd love to do both, but I can't. I can't guarantee it, right? So here's the two conditions. The top one is on the small scale, so that's the kind of the setup to allow zoning to ask for the other conditions. But it's basically saying that we need to provide the school bus shelter to be built on the subject site or establish pedestrian connectivity to Boca Rio Road. In similar fashion are the two zoning items. So my proposal would be to remove the comp plan condition because I think that's really a site design thing that probably shouldn't be in the comp plan level. Plus, if we do have something shake out if there is more discussion with the school board, that we don't have to do a comp plan amendment, we can just change it on the zoning side. My proposed condition language for the zoning side is a quick tweak. So if we are able to put a sidewalk in, we would go forward with that. If we aren't allowed to do the sidewalk because the owner won't allow it, we also have the ability to then talk to the school board. So I changed confirm to coordinate with the school board, and then if permitted to come into the site, we would do the school bus shelter. So it's a small tweak. I'm hoping that we can go that route. And also, if we do go this route of getting the school board to put to come into the site and put the shelter, we would like a letter, hopefully maybe from the BCC to say, guys, I know you have your policy, but this is a safety issue we feel strongly about. We would really like your bus to come in here. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Before we do that, Attorney Stone.
Yeah, just commenting on a couple of things mentioned. First of all, that's not the current language being proposed by staff, so it wouldn't be a minor tweak. This was prior language. The new language proposed by staff was in his previous slide. That being said, and I'll let planning speak more to this, the reason that the condition was first placed in the flu amendment was to provide the requisite authority for it to be in the zoning conditions. So in any scenario, I would suggest, and again, I'll let planning speak to this, that a condition remains in the flu to provide the coverage for the zoning.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
We're going to do disclosure?
We are, but if you had questions, I wanted you to.
So, and this is really on this school bus issue. And, when I first saw this project, that was a concern I had. And I have this concern over many projects that have come before us, that putting children out on busy roadways is a terrible decision when there's alternatives. And so the fact that you all want to do this and the school district does not, to me, is unconscionable how they would want to have little kids standing out on busy roadways. So I am 100% in support, not only for this project, but requesting that they do this for if that's their policy, I really believe they need to change that policy. And so my request would be that we do write a letter to them expressing our concern about this and that they change that policy. I understand it may take a few extra seconds, but a few extra seconds, you can never bring back a child. And, to to be able to try and protect our children because they're trying to go to school seems like a very simple step to take to keep them away from busy roadways. And so I understand we've got an issue, but we've got to figure this out. And I'm sympathetic to your position, but we've got to figure out a way to get this resolved. I can't in good consciousness support something where I knowingly am going to put children, and if we can't put a sidewalk in, that means that they're walking down a roadway in an industrial area. That's not a good idea either.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores?
What is our attorney spoke to the language difference. What is that condition of approval that we're requesting as opposed to what the applicant is requesting?
Actually, Josh just had it up, if you can pull it back up again.
Is it just the couple of changes in the wording?
No.
He's proposing to strike out the condition 5 that's in the land use amendment. And it's critical that we have that condition because it anchors for the zoning application. So the land use application is entitling the residential. So before the residential, it was just industrial and that sidewalk isn't necessary. But now that if we're proposing to introduce residential, which the children will be using the school bus, the sidewalk or a bus shelter is necessary, and it has to be anchored in that legislative application.
So I understand the applicant is in a conundrum, right? He can build a bus shelter, but the bus won't go to the bus shelter, right? And that's sort of his way out. But it's at the end of the day, we're trying to keep the kids safe, right?
Correct.
So I think I firmly believe we need to draft that letter, and I think as commissioners go beyond that and actually speak to the school board members and have them change that policy because it makes absolutely no sense. In regards to Josh, the applicant, have you reached out to this property owner to see if they would allow a sidewalk?
We have. We put together a package. I spoke to one of the representatives. They said to put together a package, send it to us, and we take it to a board. Obviously, they're a national brand, so we're waiting on that reply. It's not that it's dead. I just can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to do it.
Right. I feel horrible for the applicant because he's being held to a standard that it's out of his control, and I understand children's safety. I would like the school district to be able to go in there. I think that would make it a much safer environment for everyone. And kids also like to do things on their walk home. I see them all the time, climbing fences and doing things that they probably shouldn't have. So the closer they are to home, the least probabilities that they're going to get in trouble. So I would like the bus shelter. I would prefer the bus shelter, and for the school district to be able to drop them off in the property.
Commissioner Sachs and then Vice Mayor Baxter.
Okay, so we want the bus shelter, but we want the bus to go there. So, Mr. Attorney, how do we do this? Right now, we want to approve this. However, Boca Rio Road, everybody, is a doubly deficient road. It connects Palmetto Park Road and Glades Road. And it is, in my estimation, and I'm a good driver, it's dangerous. It's got a canal that goes, that's why it's called Boca Rio. It's by the river. It's by a canal. And in certain parts of that canal, there are no barricades. So if your car goes off the road or your bicycle goes off the road, you're in a canal. So what do we do, Mr. Attorney?
Actually, the way the condition is written right now, it covers that it either requires the school bus shelter to be built on site if the school district allows it.
No, that if is what I don't want. So the school districts always say they're not doing it. Okay, so what we probably need is a strong letter by our mayor, if we all agree, to our school board, and tell them that if we're building housing, workforce affordable housing, we got Senate Bill 80, we got housing that's necessary, then we must have a school bus that goes inside that property and exits outside.
You could fashion the condition that's so that it requires a school bus shelter only. And then,
Wait, not a school bus shelter, but I'm talking about the school bus.
well, in that situation, there would be no way for you could set it up so that if the school bus doesn't go into the property then and use the school bus shelter, then they wouldn't be able to move forward. It would basically be a condition that they wouldn't be able to satisfy, so therefore the development wouldn't move forward.
What I would like to do is this, with all due respect, and we can discuss it. I'd like to have the mayor write a letter, if we all agree, to the school district, to the school. There's a transportation, I know we have Joanne here that works on the transportation commission of the school board. So I don't know if it's the district or the board, but whichever authority it is, we need to write a letter and say that this particular area requires a school bus pickup and delivery. And if they say no, then we'll bring them before the board and ask them a couple of questions. Okay? Would that be okay legally, right? Okay, then in the meantime, Josh, you and I have to commend everybody here from your area. That is, let me see, Cameron Ennis, Charles Ashlenik, and Haviv Cohen. I've met you out there. We spent some time together, and I appreciate what you're doing today to make this a good site. And we do know that Boca Real is doubly deficient, and you're going to agree not to start until it's done, which is probably 2026 or 27.
It's supposed to be starting in 2027, and it will be a couple of years after that.
So that way, we are not going to be able to be impacting that road. And you've also agreed to put inside the development a child care center. It's going to be called a kid zone, and it's for little babies up to kindergarten. And a parent could drop their kids off while they go to work, and it'll be monitored in a safe place within the building. And out here, they're going to have great food trucks outside too. So folks, this is going to limit their daily trips out to get something to eat because there's not many places there locally. They'll have some very good, and some of us will tell them which food trucks to have. I'm not a great connoisseur of that, but you have food trucks outside where the folks can go out, work, get something to eat, and then go back in. So I appreciate all the work you've done on this.
Thank you.
And I have no further questions, and I'll be ready to push it forward when you're ready, Mayor.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What constitutes a bus shelter?
I looked to staff. Is there a definition for bus shelter? I know it's a very common term
Or a
used
school
in,
bus,
yeah.
more specifically, a school bus shelter. The reason I ask is because if they build it, I mean, it is beyond their power to then guarantee that the school would send a bus there. We send a letter. I'm fully in support of sending a letter to the school board. I guess what I'm asking is if they build a school bus shelter, have they not then satisfied the requirement?
Actually, I can answer that. The condition is written to say that they would construct a school bus shelter on the subject site if allowed by the school district.
It doesn't, on the subject site, it doesn't say if allowed.
Look at the very last line.
Under 4B.
Construct a school bus shelter on the subject site if allowed, but, well, they can't stop them from building a shelter, but they can stop the bus from going there.
The idea is that if the school district isn't going to allow the buses to go on site, they wouldn't build the school bus shelter.
I guess for purposes of today, because you can't guarantee, and we don't know what the school board is going to do, you build it, right? Mm-hmm. And then we send a strong letter to them saying we would really like them to make sure that a school bus visits that shelter you construct. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Fair statement, right? So if Commissioner Sachs makes the motion, I'll second it.
Okay, Commissioner Powell.
Would that be a condition of approval or a condition where you would say if this, then that? Because if you're requiring, do you know the impetus, Josh, behind why the school district or the school, I'm imagining you spoke with the planner for the school board indicated that that would be against their policy, and what would be an appeal to that, other than a strongly worded letter from us? Is there an appeal process?
Not that I'm aware of. All I kept getting was policy. That's what I've talked to the transportation director, transportation manager, the planning division at the school board, and there's really nothing beyond that's our policy. And I don't know if there's an appeal process to it.
Okay. Because my concern would be if we move forward with this today, we require a bus shelter to be constructed. It's there, and we don't have, like Vice Mayor said, we don't have the authority to make the school district do anything. And the school district, they can build schools without even getting approval from
Correct.
us. I mean, it's a lot.
My opinion, if so be it, my opinion is that we leave that just the way it is, construct a sidewalk or construct a shelter, which obviously the shelter would be constructed once we've got approval or disapproval from the school board. We need to have both options, because if the school board says adamantly no to the shelter, we still need some safety provisions for the kids to get to where they can get to a school bus. So I think the original wording should stand, and I think that's what we should do with our motion, including a strongly worded letter from the mayor on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners asking for the school shelter to be on property.
That's fair.
Commissioner Sachs, is that for your liking?
No, we're not asking, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you're going to write the letter. We're not asking for the school bus shelter, because they'll build it if necessary. We're asking for a school bus stop. And I think they really need to get on board with us, and I know they will. I know they will, because we're building housing for families. These not over 55, housing for families. And so I'm sure that, and who is it? Does anybody know our attorney? Is it the school district or is it the school board, sir? I don't know that answer.
School board.
There's the Palm Beach County School Board.
I do know that.
Right, so I'm not aware of anything other than that.
Yeah, there's a school district, sir. So let's do this. You didn't know that? Okay, the school, okay. So,
You mean the district
who
school
handles
board member.
transportation? Joanne, do you know who handles transportation on behalf of our kids?
If I'm going to
tell them what position you have with transportation.
And I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. When I say school bus shelter, it is synonymous with a school bus shelter for a bus stop. It is not. If there is no bus stop, there is no shelter. The shelter will only be built if the school bus is available to go to it. That would be the wording. That would be the understanding. The developer would build a school bus shelter if the school district approves of a bus going to it. And then if not, then we would have a sidewalk getting them to Boca Rio so that they would have safe passage to a busy street. So that would be my interpretation of what this motion is. Commissioner Sachs, is that
Joanne,
amenable?
No, I'd just like to hear from Joanne so we know who's in charge of these school buses there.
Good morning still. Joanne Keller with the Engineering Department. I do sit on the School Traffic Task Force, and we will be in communication on this issue with their risk management group over there.
Perfect. And you'll be able to report back to the
We will,
subcommission.
yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay.
Madam Mayor, the only thing I was going to add was going back to the right? So if we don't get them to agree to come in, you mentioned, well, we'd put a sidewalk, and that's where we run into the other snag, that we don't have the ability to force the sidewalk on the adjacent property owner. So that into Mr. Stone's point, if the condition as written were to hold true, it would stop our development from proceeding. Because it does require that if approved.
This is a comprehensive plan amendment, so you have full discretion to make the decisions that you believe are appropriate and conditions.
So we need a safe way for the kids to get on a school bus one way or the other. How do we do that if we don't have a school bus stop on the property? That's the question. And I don't know if we go forward with a development if we don't have safe passage for the kids. So figure it out.
I mean, I guess at this point we would, if we're getting that strongly worded letter from the board, which is great, I don't want that to stop us moving forward. We've come a long way and been postponed a couple times to get some things worked out. So I'd say we'd have to move forward with the conditions as written.
Commissioner Flores.
I have two items which are totally separate. The first one that I want to share with the board, I'm currently in communications with school board member Erica Whitfield, who has said that I think she's actually listening in right now to the conversation, and she has said that she's going to try to work on this moving forward. So school board member already listening in and listening to our concerns, which is it's very important. I think it sounds like we are sort of in consensus about writing the strongly letter, the letter. And so, I think we will help in that aspect because we want to make sure that our kids are definitely safe. And then she just texted me. She's probably saying, "Why are you using my name?" But I want to go back a few slides where you had the, I think slide 13 maybe. Let's see. This is sort of like a side comment. No, go back one more. One more. Just keep going. I'll tell you. Sorry, Josh.
Let me know.
Where you had the two elevations, where it was to what it's currently at.
The ghost, let's see.
Right there.
That one, yeah.
I just want to put this on the record. It has nothing to do with our decision making, but I think this is great, a great illustration for us to see. So if you're out there watching and you're seeing this, when you come before us and you make changes, I think this is a great way to illustrate what you have done to accommodate the request from the board. So I think this is a great illustration because it shows that you were amenable to work with the community and you brought down your height. But visually, this is great. So I just wanted to commend you on that. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Sachs, how would you like this motion to read? And before we do that, we have two things that we need to take care of. Commissioner Sachs, you did not have your disclosures ready for 6. So if you would like to read those, and then once you read those, we will all read our disclosures in for number 8.
Sure. Actually, I did for 6, but I'll do it again. I had Laurel McKellen, Jennifer Morton, and Alexander Arreos.
Okay.
And in-person meetings with them. Thank you.
All right, so now we'll take disclosures for number 8. Commissioner Flores? Commissioner Sachs?
Yes, for items number 7 and 8, I had in-person meetings with Josh Nichols, Cameron Ennis, Charles Odchlenek, Haviv Cohen. I received and filed emails, and I've had site visits there as well.
Thank you. I've had verbal communications with Josh Nichols, and I fired correspondence with the clerk. Commissioner Weiss?
On item number 8, I had verbal communications with Josh Nichols.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell?
Unfortunately, I have not had any verbal communication with anybody regarding item 7 or 8. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Sachs, how would you like the motion to read? Or do you want
Well, I like
do
the
you want
site
someone
plan.
helping you with it?
I like the site plan. It's good. We've worked well. I've worked well with everybody involved in this. And I think what we're going to do, with help from council, is that I move forward on this. And I know that no matter what, we're going to get approval from the school to get a school bus in there. If not, I'll bring them before. I don't think I have subpoena powers, do I? But I think we'll request that they come before the board. But I think that we will get them. Thank you.
Is that clear enough?
I think we can take number 7 first.
Okay.
As far as the comp plan amendment, it would be a motion to adopt an ordinance approving item 7A.
Commissioner Sacks, is that good with you?
If the lawyer says.
Okay,
What the
so
lawyer says.
Commissioner Sacks is making the motion to adopt an ordinance approving item number 7, and I think we had a second from Commissioner Flores. All in favor, all opposed, see that that motion carries 4-0. And then on item number 8, Attorney Stone, would you like to guide us with this?
Sure. It would be a motion to approve, a motion to adopt a resolution approving items 8A and 8B.
What are we
okay?
doing about the sidewalk and the bus shelter?
That's already included as
care
part of the,
Okay.
it's on the
7.
addendum or the add delete. It's one
There's
of
no
those.
modifications proposed to the conditions on the addendum.
All righty.
Okay, very good. That's exactly
is
what I
that the
said.
That's what you would like to hear?
That's what I said.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Sacks. We have a second from Commissioner Flores. All in favor, all opposed. Commissioner Powell is right there. That would be 5-0 on item number 8.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
We are at 11:54. We were going to adjourn at 12. I don't think we need to start anything at this moment. We will be back at 1 o'clock at that time so that the Vice Mayor can join us. We will, with a motion from someone on the board, we will move the attorney item up, take that, and then return to the zoning items. Okay? Sorry.
Should we do that now?
Do we need to do that now?
That way-
Make a motion that when we return, we'll be taking up that item?
Sure.
The
I'll make a-
ULDC items would have been fast, I think.
Yeah, I think those actually might go pretty quickly in the next 10 minutes or
Yeah,
so.
all we have left is Green Markets, Westgate,
And golf carts.
ERs.
Golf carts are going to take a little bit.
I'm sorry?
I think golf carts are going to take a little
Oh,
bit.
golf carts will take a while, but the ULDC items, I think, will be super duper quick. We
Okay.
didn't have any
Do we want to
presentation.
hang out for a couple 10 minutes? Okay, let's take up item number 9, the Green Market. This is just a permission to advertise. Does anybody need a presentation?
I'll move that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the permission to advertise the Green Market, which would be 9AB. All in favor? All opposed? See that that motion carries 5-0. Westgate, this is the first reading and adoption. We have already heard this quite a few times. So does anybody need a presentation for item number 10?
I will move item number 10.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? See that motion carries 5-0.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
May I be recognized?
Yes, sir.
Could we clarify the second?
We'll give it to Commissioner Flores.
Commissioner Sacks?
Oh, it was Commissioner Sacks? I apologize. It was Commissioner Sacks. Thank you very much. Okay. So those are all for ULDC. We're done with that.
Well, we also have freestanding emergency department, which is a privately proposed phase 1. This will come back before you at least 3 more times. It's just initiation for phase 1.
Okay.
I'll
Does
go ahead
anybody
and-
need a presentation? We've got an excellent idea. Okay, so Commissioner Weiss made the first. I'll give the second to Commissioner Sacks. All in favor? All opposed? See that that motion carries 5-0. And number 12 is just a permission to advertise. Do I have anyone that wants a discussion on that? Seeing none, would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Oh, we'll give it to Commissioner Sacks first and then Commissioner Weiss. All in favor, all opposed, see that motion carries 5-0. I have a feeling golf carts is going to be a longer discussion, so we will, does anybody want to reorder the agenda now or take golf carts and then?
I'll make, is that a motion to reorder the agenda so that we discuss the attorney selection process before item 13?
Yes.
That way they have time to maybe extended lunch.
Sure.
Well, we've got, we're at.
Not for us, for.
Correct. So we will be back here at, oh, wait a second. So we had the motion from Commissioner Flores. We'll have a second from Commissioner Weiss. All in favor, all opposed. See that the motion carries to reorder the agenda to move the attorney discussion up before golf carts. We will be adjourned until 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.